Gives me a great pleasure to introduce on the show the MD and CEO of Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance, Mr. Kamlesh Rao. Mr. Rao, thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now. Well, we have so much to talk really about, life insurance, about your product, about a very interesting study as well that you guys have done on the trends when it comes to term insurance purchase. But first up, let's talk about, the fact that more than life insurance, people have been focusing on health insurance because obviously, right, you've been reading in the papers about how the bills for hospitals have been shooting up, etc., etc. But why do you think life insurance as well assumes a lot of importance in times like these? What is the role life insurance plays at a time when we still, by the way, have so much uncertainty in front of us?
So I can only share, Veena, that we've seen the most uncertain times in the last 18 months. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in the last 100 years. I can tell you that the pandemic has impacted all strata of society. It doesn't matter whether you are the lower middle class, the upper middle class, you're an HNI. It doesn't matter what age group you are in. And therefore, when something so unfortunate happens, I think the importance of planning your finances to be able to make sure that you leave something behind, God forbid if something unfortunate happens to you, I think is the big role that life insurance plays. And I've only seen in the last 18 months that both the risk awareness and the risk averseness actually has gone up across the country. Awareness is increasing demand for buying protection products because your life needs to be protected in the untimely event of something happening. And from an averseness point of view, there are a lot of tools in life insurance that you can plan for. It's as important a financial tool as you do any other investment. And therefore, I think you got to see it holistically, both from a protection point of view, as well as if you are living. There are a range of products in life insurance that actually allow you to make sure that you can live healthily, you can live well. There are retirement solutions that you can get. So I think it's an important asset class that you need some allocation to, and that's the importance and role of life insurance.
Okay, so what there are different kinds of life insurance products available out there, and for somebody who's just starting off, it could get a little confusing. So as a starter pack, what would you recommend? Would a simple term plan suffice for at least those individuals just starting off?
I think if you want to buy a term product, you got to buy it early because as you age, the term protection policy becomes more costly. So I think you're right. I think when you make your baby steps into insurance, I think it's important to buy the term product. As you get married and you want to plan for children, there are very interesting products on guaranteed interest rate plan. Because remember that the guarantee plan that life insurance companies offer, A, have a tax benefit because there's no tax on that. And B, you get committed returns over periods of 20 years and 30 years and 40 years. So I think when you come to that age, I think that becomes important. Come what we call the midlife crisis at 45, 50, where you want to start planning for retirement. And there are great annuity products that you can plan for post-retirement. So you're right, as you enter in simpler ones of protection, but as you move through your age cycle, I think there are very interesting products that you can consume from life insurance. And therefore, I always say, as an asset class, it demands a certain amount of allocation into that area.
Okay. So how does one decide on the suitability of the different kinds of insurance products that are out there? Obviously as a starter pack, a term insurance is great, but then your income increases, your family increases. So how do you decide on the different kinds of, how do you pick the different kinds of life insurance products?
I think it's similar to how you manage your money or wealth. It's fundamentally a function of your risk profile. There are people who put money into equity. There are people who put money into mutual fund. There are people who put money into fixed deposits. And it's a function of your risk profile. So if you're a fixed deposit kind of a customer, then there are guaranteed savings plan that life insurance provides alternatively. If you are an equity or a mutual fund kind of a customer, then you choose your ULIP plans. But I think what is most important is as your age goes up and you are cognizant of the liabilities that you build in. I'm saying typically at 35, you want to buy a house. You need to make sure that when you buy a loan, you need to provide a security in case something goes wrong with you, the loan gets repaid. So depending on what you are planning, I think it's important to keep looking at some allocation as you progress. There are child's education is not very cheap these days. So if you want goalposts at the age of, when he gets to the 10th standard or 12th standard or post-graduation, there are goalposts that you can fix. And you keep allocating some amount of money at different points in time to build for the objective that you want a life insurance product. So unfortunately, life insurance is otherwise normally seen as, just protection. Inherently what it means is if you die, the life insurance company will pay you. But I think the importance of the last 18 months and 24 months that I have seen, growing importance of life insurance. There are so many products that are as relevant if you are living to be able to live financially independently as you progress with your age. And that's the reason some of the products of life insurance are doing so well in the last 24 months' time.
Okay. I was just reading your a very interesting report on certain trends that you've observed in terms of term insurance purchases. And what stands out is that firstly, the number of women purchasing a term insurance has gone up. So while earlier only 36% purchased a term insurance, now 47% have purchased. And also the percentage of women in the 35 to 44 age bracket has gone down from 40% to 34%, showing that the top bracket of women purchasing term insurance has changed to a younger lot. Now, when you are younger, you really don't think that you need life insurance. Because your income is not too much. So you may have this perception that, where I'll pay premium and, purchase a life insurance, etc. Anyway, my income isn't too much. So it's not like you and plus your family is quite small, or you may just have parents at that point of time. You have not yet expanded it to include spouse, children, etc. So I'm glad to see that women have realized the need, and that too at a younger age, that 35 onwards. But for those who are still unconvinced, how would you like to convince them?
There's always a positive thing in starting early. I think all investments show that benefit. You start your SIP early, you don't try and time it. You buy a property at the right point of time. Similarly, if you plan early, and remember in insurance, as your age goes up, you're not going to be medically more fitter. You're far fitter when you start younger. And that gets built into the pricing of buying an insurance product. Because remember, after everything else that a life insurance product offers, it also needs to cover your mortality risk. So from that point of view, the fact that more millennials are buying, more younger age people are buying, and that trend is reflective, Mubina, in both women as well as men. We are seeing the average age actually come down. It used to be in the 35, 36. It is now going to the sub 30 levels. And I'm happy that people are buying it younger because they get the benefit of significantly lower price for a higher protection covers that they get. On women, I'd be happier, if that number goes up. That's something that we are focused on because women that, they comprise about half the population of the country, and that's not reflective in the life insurance policies that are bought. But we are working very hard to see how that can happen. And like you said in the data, we are happy that that number of women policies in the overall scheme of things that we sell is going up every year. And that's a good sign.
Okay, let's talk then about sum assured. This can be a tricky one, to get. If we are looking at health insurance, you still have a vague idea of, roughly how much do hospital bills amount to, etc., etc. But if you have to talk about sum assured for life insurance, you're practically assigning a value to your life and the gap, the financial gap that could be left behind after you, that your family members will struggle to fill. Now, this is a very, very tough sum to determine. What's interesting is that, again, your study says that sum assured has gone up from 9% to 13%. So how does one come around determining how much sum assured one needs?
So you're right. When you're starting early in your career, it's very difficult to get that assessment. And therefore you start with a smaller value. And we discovered this inherent problem that people then, try and take a cover of say 25, 30 or 40 lakhs. And you really forget to top it up. And by the time you realize you're 40, you realize what cover you have is not good enough. And at that point of time, when you want to change it to 2 crores, 3 crores or 4 crores, that time the cost of the same policy becomes significantly higher. So we've got something new, Movina, and I must tell you that you cover yourself for your liabilities till you are 60. We give the option to customers to actually drop off their cover after 60. So which means you buy a higher policy younger, you get a better opportunity to buy it cheaper. But after 60, if you're ready to drop that cover, say from 2 crores to even half that value, or say 1.5 crores, because if you live till 60, you would have saved enough to be able to take care of all your liabilities. And that allows you to pay significantly lower premium through the entire period of the contract that you have. So that's one. Also, if you look at, and I don't know whether you're hearing these things, that, with pandemic, the price of protection and all that stuff has gone up. We are actually doing a contra strategy of actually bringing the price of our protection product down, because I think at this level of risk awareness that people have, having seen what happened in the pandemic, we want to make sure that people maximize the opportunity of being able to buy the product at cheaper price. And I can only tell you, with whatever happened in the pandemic, if price is the one thing that will keep going up, and therefore this may be the most opportune time to actually make sure that you ask yourself 2 questions. Do you have life insurance or no? If you don't, I think there's a serious asset class that you are missing in your portfolio. And for those people who have life insurance, they should ask the question, how much are they covered for? Because normally there is a mismatch between what you are covered for versus the kind of liability that you may be carrying or the life value that you may be having. I think it's a good time with the pandemic, and hopefully with vaccination round the corner going up, I think this thing will only get better. It's a great time to ask these 2 questions, get yourself a cover, and if you have a cover, make sure that you are adequately covered.
Now, premiums, let's talk about that. To start with, how is the premium of a life insurance policy determined? What are the factors that are considered? And I suppose this could be also another reason why you would really encourage and recommend to start off a life insurance policy when you're younger.
So that's true. I'm saying, often life insurance products get compared. Say, for example, the ULIP gets compared with the mutual fund. And people believe that, the ULIP is much more costlier as compared to a mutual fund. But people have to remember that both are investment products. Both may invest in the equity markets depending on what you choose. But a ULIP gives you at least minimum 10 times cover of the premium that you pay. And that's your death benefit. So mortality gets factored in. And that's an important element that gets factored in pricing of all the premiums. And that's the way the price gets determined. And needless to say, depending on what age you are entering in, because of how fit you are and how good you are at an early age, the price is lower at younger ages and obviously keeps going up at higher ages because mortality needs to get covered. So I think, like I said, starting younger is extremely important. Picking the right product of protection is extremely important because that can get costlier with time. And as you progress in your life cycle, then you shift to savings products, which also give you protection, but inherently what you are buying is a saving product. For example, when you are at 45, you can create yourself an annuity product, which basically means you save for about 5 years' time or premium for 5 years' time, and you are able to create an annuity for you for your entire life period. So these are products which are important because post 60, you may not have a source of income. Of course, you would have saved enough and that could be a source of income, but there are interesting products available apart from the fact that if something happens to you, a lump sum money will be paid to your nominee or dependents. But if you are living, it's also important to live with great amount of financial independence. And that's something that life insurance does for you.
Let's talk about the ABSL DigiShield plan then. You've recently cut the premiums on this plan. Tell us a bit about the DigiShield plan. How is it different from a regular term insurance plan?
So one of the other issues or perceptions people have is in the term plan. If you pay the premium and say nothing goes wrong with you, you live, then you don't get anything back. Okay, so all the premiums that you've paid, you think go down the drain. People want to make sure that at the end of 60, when the premium paying term gets over, they don't want a lump sum. They want annuity. Now, until in the past, there were different products that were created for some of these requirements. What has happened in DigiShield, what we've done is we've combined about 10 options into just one product. So it's a one protection plan. You just want to pay the premiums and just want to buy pure protection, it is fine. You want to actually buy higher protection till 60 and you want to drop off that premium, that is also possible in the same plan. you don't want to get lump sum money, but you want to get an annuity or an income after 60 when you retire, that is also possible in the same plan. So what we've done in Digi Shield is we've bundled, based on customer insight, a range of differential products into one, and we've created them as options. So that's one difference. It's priced pretty attractively in the marketplace. And like I said, we are among the few guys or the only person. And everybody is evaluating whether premiums in protection business should actually go up. We've looked at the opportunity of the vaccinations, the way they're going up in the country. And we think over the next 3 months, it'll get significantly better. We think it's an opportunity to offer a better product so that we can maximize our protection share of the business that we do. And that's the reason we have dropped the price between 5 to 10% across various age categories. And I think in the interest of customers, I can only tell you that across life insurance, premiums may only keep going up post this pandemic or slowdown. And therefore, if there's any good time to buy a protection product, actually it is now. Because even after all this, India is amongst the cheapest price at this point of time across Southeast Asia to be able to buy a protection policy. So I think that's what we've done. We've bundled everything into one product, and we've tried to drop the price and play a contra strategy at this point of time, keeping in mind that the health consciousness of the customer has gone up. We all strive ourselves to keep ourselves more healthy after what we've seen in the last 18 months. So I think it's going to be a more healthy India over the next few years. And therefore, the idea of being able to drop the price and make it more cheaper to be able to buy a protection product is what we've done at Aditya Birla Sun Life Insurance.
Well, great. Thanks, Mr. Rao, for joining us. I think it's great to know that, life insurance is so much more affordable in the country, and I hope that would further increase penetration as well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.